wealth and about money and about your economic future. Now, I'm going to give you guys a chance to come into the conversation as I let other people in from other parts of our land of intelligent Black people. And so, as we get started, please go ahead and get comfortable inside the interface. As we're going to have a really important conversation. I see Kuano is the first person that's in here. How you doing? And as I see the rest of you in here, I'll greet you. Kim Clark, how are you? Derek, good to see you. Do me a favor, if you're just now coming in, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Also, go ahead and feel free to shout out your city. I see Steve Williams from Gilroy, California. I see DDS08D. Good morning, good afternoon to you. Queen B, V, good to see you. All right, so let's kind of jump into the conversation. I'll let you know who I'm talking to and why we're talking and why this is an important conversation. Today I'm speaking with Miss Jessica Smith, CPA, and Jessica and I are going to talk about something that a lot of people aren't talking about, but something you should definitely know about, something that you shouldn't just know about, but something you can actually fix if you choose to fix it. It has to do with the coming retirement crisis and the fact that most Americans are not prepared to get old. They're only prepared to get broke. And so, but before we begin, I want to welcome my guest to the podcast. How you doing today, Jessica?
Hi, how are you?
Doing very well, very well. And so let me ask you. Let's start here. Tell everybody what you do and how long you've done it for.
Okay, so I'm an accountant and a tax professional. I've been doing taxes since I was 19. It was kind of my side hustle while I was still in school. And I also work simultaneously as an accounting clerk. So I've been doing both tax and accounting for over 20 years.
Wow.
A long time, just say that.
Wow. Well, I think that's good. I think that's excellent. Yeah. I mean, that shows that you've been in the game. This is what you do. This is your life. This is your love. This is your passion. And one of the things that you and I have talked about on a few occasions is that, you know, when it comes to certain areas related to financial planning, there are some serious economic sicknesses out here in terms of where we are as a community, where we are as a country, and the direction that we're kind of headed and how things are going to get worse. Can you kind of lay the foundation of that a little bit? I'm going to invite some more people into the podcast, and I'd love for you to kind of explain sort of what you're seeing on the economic landscape, you know, for the country at large.
Yeah, it's kind of devastating. It's, you know, we have less than 5% of Americans save less than 5% of their income, and we have probably over, and I'd say 20% of the American population is doing that, saving less than 5%. The majority of families are living paycheck to paycheck, and so even saving for retirement is extremely difficult. You know, with the cost of food and the cost of gas and other things going up. We recently had the government shut down, so it's been a lot of different things that are affecting our families. So, you know, some of the families who went unpaid, so, you know, even the government is feeling, government employees are feeling it as well.
Well, you know, actually, before we move on, everybody, don't forget, do your city shout out your city or your business or your dream. Your city, your business, or your dream. I see Dwight is from Houston. I see Kodak says, sup, Doc? How you doing, Kodak? Good to see you. John Doe, rule number 1, pay yourself first. Queen B, what will this mean for those permanently displaced on disability? We will definitely get a chance to hit that. MD Ready from Clinton, Maryland. Let's see, Denise says, my older friend is dealing with this, unfortunately, now, so sad. So Jessica, let me tell you what I'm seeing, and you can tell me what your thoughts are on this. I see a country where the savings rates are very low, and not always because we don't have the money. You know, when I was in Germany, when I did a stint with the Center for European Economic Research about a decade ago, and when I was in Germany doing this research, one of my German colleagues came into the office, and he basically asked me, you know, what he said in the German accent. He said, "What is wrong with you Americans?" And I said, and I'm like, well, what's wrong with you Germans? Like, what you coming stepping on me like that? What you want, man? You know, and he basically said, he said, I looked at the data, and the data says that we in Germany we make less money than you do, we pay more in taxes than you do, but we save 5 times more than you do. What do you say to that? I mean, do you think that he was just full of it, or do you think that there's something to the
No,
idea that Americans are just not that interested in saving?
no, I think that he is spot on. And it's not just there, it's other countries. Japan. I mean, just when you look at all the other countries, they say that we're obsessed with several things. We're obsessed with eating. We eat out. The average American doesn't even cook anymore. My mother used to work a full-time job and dinner was on the table at 6. Granted, she ensured that we also helped to prep dinner while she was at work, but she 6 o'clock like clockwork. Nowadays, people are taking their kids through the drive-through, or there's a lot of processed or packaged foods. While we do have a lot of people that are now starting to be more health conscientious, that is expensive as well. I think back in the day we really didn't have that. But so in terms of eating out is one. As I said, the cost of transportation. Now they have Uber, which is absolutely amazing. But so when you'd have a car, you got on the bus or took public transportation. Now people are quick to hop in an Uber because it's quicker, it's faster, but it's also 10 times more than what you'd spend if you spend $2 on a transit, but then you spend $12 jumping in a Uber, $10 to $12 jumping in an Uber, and that's usually only one way. I mean, by the time you spend $20 on a ride, so some of the conveniences have also, I think, kind of hindered our saving progress, if you will.
Interesting. Well, I personally think that a lot of culture plays a part in where you are financially. I mean, and the reason I say I know culture matters is because, I know people. I got friends from the Caribbean that tend. I don't know. And again, I can't typecast the whole Caribbean. I'm sure they got broke people and big spenders in the Caribbean, etc. But some of my friends from the Caribbean, they just don't tend to have as many problems with broke Negroitis as I see amongst African Americans. They just don't. I'm serious. I know a guy. One of my friends from Jamaica. He felt very strongly that he had to own a house by the age of 28. And he didn't buy a house, he bought a condo, but he was a homeowner at the age of 28. And that was because that was his top priority. He wasn't, trying to be cool. He wasn't trying to be fly. He wasn't trying to, spend money on things he didn't have to spend money on. And he owned a house at 28. I think of another friend who owns a beautiful home up in Queens or something. And I mean, a beautiful, beautiful house. And he's a great guy. He's a scholar. He made tenure at an Ivy League school. He's married to a beautiful black woman. They have kids, and he actually led the effort to clean up his whole community. Like his whole neighborhood had gotten bad. He got a group of black men together, and they patrolled the streets to rebuild and protect the community. And I was thinking, wow, this is so awesome. A black man doing these great things. He loves this beautiful black woman, and he's taking care of his family, and he's building his community, and he's investing and saving his money. He's making smart decisions educationally. He's working hard. And then I meet his mother, and his mother has an accent, and I can't remember what her background was, but I think he was also from the Caribbean. It turned out that I thought he was this great African American story of triumph, and he wasn't. And I'm not in any way putting people from other countries on a pedestal or anything like that. I'm saying that I can't disconnect culture from what I'm seeing in terms of the differential in terms of how people turn up. I could run with 1,000. Tell me anybody if you've ever noticed that. Have you ever noticed that? Maybe people from Jamaica or a lot of your friends from Nigeria just kind of have their stuff together. Whereas it seems to me that sometimes with African Americans, we have a lot to learn when it comes to financial intelligence, financial responsibility, in economic culture. What do you think about that?
If you want to talk about culture, I think a lot of it also has to do with here in America. I think that we have a lot of things that distract us that I think probably in other cultures are just not as important or prevalent. For example, every kid, by 2 or 3 kids have iPads. You know what I mean? Here in America, that doesn't happen in other countries. There's, we have our TV, we have all these other things. Half of our American population, probably more, the children, or I should not quantify it, but I'll say a lot of American children don't even go outside and exercise anymore. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, I went outside at 8 o'clock in the morning. My little friend was knocking on the door for us to come outside and play. And the only time you had to come in is if you had lunch, either at someone's house on the block, and then you went back outside, and then you came in only for dinner, and then you were back outside. Nowadays, kids are in front of the computer. We see a commercial where the mother has to go and flip the switch in the basement to cut the power in order to get the kids to go outside. Like, why is that even a campaign? You know what I mean? So I think that culturally, if you want to, when you go to Jamaica or when you go to some of these other places, people are outside, they're doing and enjoying life and enjoying each other. And I think we culturally are really stuck on social media is another one. I went to a barbecue and for the 4th of July recently, and my girlfriend and all her friends were sitting around the table with each other, but they were looking at their phones saying, "Oh, look, did you see what so-and-so posted?" And I'm sitting there like, there was no conversation. No one was enjoying each other's company. Everyone was sitting with each other, but everyone was on their phones. So, I think that a lot of times when you see different cultures and how they value family and what the things that they do together and how they value their time and their money. And America to them is a place, it's a land of opportunity. This is where you do come to make money. So I think the whole purpose, they understand the purpose of why their families moved here and what it meant for them. And I think when you're born in America, we may not make we don't establish those same goals or establish those same principles that this is the land of opportunity and this is why we're here.
Everybody, I'm talking to Miss Jessica Smith, CPA, and we're talking about the coming financial crisis related to the depletion of Social Security, as well as the fact that 1 in 3 Americans has $0 saved for retirement. If you care about financial literacy, if you care about Black intelligence, I hope that you'll hit the thumbs up button and share this video, and also share this information with other people around the world, because this is an important conversation that needs to be had. Also, for those of you who live in Philly, I'll be doing a Financial Juneteenth all-day seminar in Philadelphia on May 19th. If you're interested in attending, please visit drboycephiladelphia.com. That's drboycephiladelphia.com. It's not just a speech. It is a seminar. We will be learning. I will be teaching in the entire day with a small group. So feel free to join us at drboycephiladelphia.com. All right. So Jessica, now here's one thing I wanted to kind of tap into. A lot of people, one thing that isn't discussed a lot, in our community as well, is the fact that Social Security, the Social Security system is dying. It's not that it's going to just be totally dead, but the ability to pay benefits is dropping, tremendously at a rapid pace. Now, if you look at the AARP website, AARP says that it's a myth that Social Security is going broke, even though they also admit that the projection has the combined Social Security trust funds that pay retirement and disability benefits running out of cash reserves by 2034. And they said that even if Congress does nothing to shore up the program, the Social Security will still be able to pay out 79% of promised benefits until 2090. Now, here's another side of the story, though, from the University of Pennsylvania. Last time I checked, University of Pennsylvania is a top-notch institution that produces quality research. They claim that the Social Security trustees are wrong in their estimates. One of the things that they're saying is that the growing amount of debt in the United States, the federal government is saddled with debt. Consumers are saddled with debt. Student loan debt is out of control. They said that the debt levels are crushing the economy to the point where they're underestimating how it's going to deplete the Social Security system and its ability to pay out benefits coming out of workers' wages and the tax base, right? So because I guess that's how the model works, right? That older people are living off the younger people of that generation. So as the population gets older, you have fewer young people to take care of the old people, right? Does that make sense? Everybody tell me if that makes sense. So the young people, instead of having, tons of young people and a few older people like you had in the baby boomer, generations, now you've got a ton of older people and a few younger people that have to take care of the older people. So it looks to me like Social Security is not really going to be something people can depend on as one of those three legs of retirement. You have the three legs. You got the Social Security, and then you got your 401ks and IRAs or pension and all that, and then you got your savings. But can you kind of speak to that in terms of what you've seen as a financial expert on what's going on with Social Security and the future of that?
Yeah, so I just read an article myself in Forbes last month that spoke about, I think they said that we're having something like $4 trillion in consumer debt. And so to your point, with the consumer debt rising, and again, like I mentioned before, with all the different things, we have the electronics and all the other extra things and eating out and those sorts of things. The debt, as the debt continues to rise, we don't know what it's going to be. So the University of Pennsylvania does seem spot on, but here's something that's also interesting. Already to date with Social Security, the average individual is barely making ends meet with the Social Security payouts now. So if you're telling me that then you're going to cut 21% of that, almost 30% of it, 29%, and that there's going to be, what did you say, 70, 79 you said it was going to be? Okay, so 79, so 20. So yeah, so like if you're going to cut 20% of what people are currently living on, and it's already still almost not enough, then where are we going to be? The other thing is that there's growing health concerns as well. And as we get older and the more we have and the more health concerns we have and we're not taking care of ourselves, as I mentioned, everything is getting larger, bigger. I mean, they have commercials now where they're giving things away. You can get 2 and 3 things for $5. Get 5 burgers for $5, and people are like, "Ooh, great bargain." But some of this food, the quality of the food has gone down, which again, but then some of the prices have gone up. And so as you don't take care of yourself as well, there's going to be major issues. I was recently talking to someone about the flu shot. And so I went to the doctor, and I no longer get flu shots, and my son wasn't getting a flu shot. And the doctor told me, you have to get this. And I said, well, I just read something that said that the last vaccine only covered about 27% of the flu viruses that were out there. And she said, yeah, it's roughly about that, 27 to 30%. And I said, which means that I'm susceptible to 70% of all the other flu strains out there. So then what's the point of taking the flu shot? It's not even a 50-50. So I'm saying that to say that, we have flu epidemics that we can't, I don't recall the flu ever killing anyone. And now we're having people that are actually dying from the flu. So, that's the other thing. The cost of medical bills are going to go up as well. So Social Security, from where I'm sitting, probably is not going to be enough, because we're just not going to be able to not only cover the cost of living, but also the cost of medical and being able to take care of ourselves moving forward.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, Jess, I also read another report. I mean, most reports that I read involving retirement preparation are bad. Right. Now, I also believe what Tavis Smiley used to always say, that when America gets sick, Black people get pneumonia. So I'm always under the full knowledge that whatever they say is happening with America at large, you just take it, multiply it by 3, and you got what's going on with Black folks. If even most white folks, I think 33% of all Americans have saved nothing for retirement, which is very interesting right there. And then, you throw in the fact that our wealth level is, I don't know if it's a 10th of what whites, have, or a 20th. It keeps going down. It sort of really speaks to me and says that when it comes to retirement preparation or long-term economic planning, we have to create new models. It's almost like building a faster spaceship, like that runs on a different kind of engine. Like you're going to have different investment vehicles, faster vehicles, more efficient vehicles that will help you to achieve the same goal, because I just know that as a black man, I can't plan everything exactly the way I would if I were not black. I think that we have a different economic landscape to kind of work through. Do you think that there are ways to have unique retirement planning mechanisms that will help sort of override all these issues that America's facing at large, or what do you think?
Um, that's kind of broad. That's a broad question. I think, well, to your point, it's actually now, I think 1 out of 5, I think I read somewhere 1 out of 5 adults don't have anything saved for retirement or emergency funds. So that's another thing. So we've been talking about retirement, but we don't even have money for emergency funds. You know, the furnace breaks down. We have a flood in our house, things that we may have to pay an insurance deductible on, or even getting car repairs. So that's an issue. So I think in terms of the overarching issue, and if we're going to have to be creative, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tighten our bootstraps and just make some sacrifices and some compromises, or we're going to have to find other ways to supplement our income, whether that be another job, whether that's changing professions. You're also seeing a lot of older people now reinventing themselves because they're coming up with different things that they can do that are going to generate income. And so we're going to have to take a look at our spending and really figure out what's a necessity, figure out what is a luxury, and make some decisions about how we are going to go about acquiring those things. I know that my mom, she loved cruises, and she loved to cruise a certain way. She had to be, she only had suites when she cruised, and it was only a certain specific line that she cruised. And so what she did, from the time I probably was born, they saved up and they went every other year. So instead of her taking a vacation every year, she decided, they went other places and did things in the interim, but they didn't take a big trip every year because she knew that if she wanted to take the cruise the way she wanted to, she had to go every other year. But by the time my mother passed away, she passed away when I was 30, she had been on 22 cruises. So, wow. Exactly. Yeah. So saving every other year and doing it the way she wanted to do it. And then, of course, as she got older and saved more money, she could go a few more times. And then maybe if somebody else went and she also learned the system and got smart. And, they've got a 2-for-1 or whatever the thing was. She learned how to become a booking pro as well. So, and that's something else we have to do. There are savings tips. There's tools, especially like during spring break. If you go, I think it's somewhere around Christmas time through like February. And if you book a cruise, you can get the other stateroom for like half off. So for spring break or some things like that, if you're trying to do it, you got to do it in advance so that you can take advantage of it the next year. There's smart things like that we don't even take advantage of, because I think one of the other things that Americans think is that the more expensive it is, the more you pay for it, the better it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so if you were on this cruise ship, but you paid half off, trust me, if my mother went on a cruise and she had a suite that she got half off versus the person who paid the full price, who's really the smartest?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, it seems to me that, that smart shopping obviously is very, very important. When I'm thinking about non-traditional ways to prepare for retirement, I think about looking at the way other cultures live, the way we used to live back in the day. Mm-hmm. For example, it's a luxury. It became a luxury item that individual nuclear families would live in one household individually, and everybody had their own house. Really, it's kind of a waste of space at the end of the day. There are some cultures where they have 2 or 3 generations in one house, and that's a good way to save money. I know that when I started my business, I found I was able to clearly see the difference between the things I wanted and the things I needed. And I remember just kind of thinking, okay, if all hell broke loose and I had nothing left, what are the bills I absolutely have to pay, and what are the things I'm getting that are extras, right? What are some way, like if I had so when there were times where I didn't have any money coming in, I would just say, well, you know what? When I'm sitting at home and sitting still, I don't spend money, So that means that because I'm not eating out, I'm not paying for transportation, I'm not buying clothes, I'm not doing anything. I'm just at home sitting still. So I was like, what do I need to have in my budget to sit home and sit still and watch the TV or do my work or whatever it is I chose to do? And I was like, I need to make sure my mortgage is paid, right? If I have a place to live and I have food in the fridge, then I'm pretty much okay to get through the dry spell. And then I think also, pulling together resources, I think is important. I think that your kids are an important part of your long-term retirement plan. If you raise financially responsible kids, then those kids will support you when you get older. If you raise financially irresponsible kids, those kids will borrow money from you when you get older. I've seen it on both cases. I know my parents will never have a retirement problem because they raised me, my brother, and my sister to be financially independent. So we will insist on paying for any trip they want to take. They want, to get a new car. We get it done for them, because we know we owe that to them. Whereas I knew someone else, and his mom babied him his whole life, and when he was 20, he was borrowing money from her. When he was 30, he would come to her house and borrow money. When he was 40, he did the same thing. When he was 50, he was still borrowing money from his mother. By that time, his mother's almost 80 years old, living on a fixed income, and she still got this 50-year-old son who's supposed to be helping her, and he's showing up to borrow money because in his mind he's still a baby. So I think that just little things like that seem to go a long way. I think also, not taking advantage of the 401k plans being offered at work. A lot of our companies offer us matching funds, and we turn all that down because we want to get our money to go do something else. And this is not just something that people forced us to do or trained us to do per se. It's something that we choose a lot of times. It's a part of our culture. I watched an episode of Saturday Night Live where Leslie Jones was doing this thing called Black Jeopardy, and the guy, the question, how in Jeopardy they give you the statement and then you ask the question, right? So he said something like, your boss tells you that he wants to take $50 a week out of your paycheck for your 401k, and she hits the buzzer and she goes, you better give me my $50 so I can buy me some scratch offs, right? And the thing is that everybody thought that was hilarious. All the black people think it's hilarious. All the white people watching thought it was hilarious. I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was sad. I thought it was sad that it was funny. The fact that it was funny is what made it sad, because people thought it was funny because they know that that's what so many of our people do. Right? Every joke has a little bit of truth to it, and that joke had a lot of truth to it. What do you think about that in terms of just investing, saving culture, and how that plays a part in lack of preparation?
Yeah, and that whole lottery ticket thing is, when I talk to people about, when you add up, and the thing is, because we can't see it, $2 here, $5 there doesn't seem like a lot. But when you go back to that person and then every blue moon they will win a little something. Oh, I gave $1, but I won $5. Yeah, but you've spent $30 over the last, month trying to get the $5 win ticket. So you really didn't. So when you add up what people spend on the lottery, don't get me started on the lottery. But when you were talking about the culture and involving family and how that plays a part. So I had a client who I believe, are from Ecuador, and the mother and father came here, got jobs, they saved up, they lived off of one income, they used the other income to save up. They bought a building, and they had, tenants in the building, but then they branched out and they bought a school. They have a driving school here. And now their daughter, who they sent off to college, is now running their driving school. And they have the mother's brother, I think, works at the driving school. Another family member works at the driving school. And it's so amazing to watch, because then what happens is the parents will also come in. They do what they need to do. I think they also have some cousins or different people that teach the actual driving. So you have some people that work in the office, some people that are out driving, teaching the cars, teaching the lessons with driving. But what happens is another family member comes with the kids at lunchtime. They all go into the lunchroom. She brings food that she prepared at home, because she is watching the children of all of the other family members at the apartment, at what somebody's apartment where they live. She cooks food, she brings it, they all sit down and eat as a family, they enjoy their kids. They do that for exactly 1 hour. And then she packs up the kids, packs up the stuff, they leave, they go back to work. And then come to find out, the mother owns a building. Well, now her daughter rents one apartment, somebody else rents another apartment. You know, it's just amazing to see how they've set up this whole, like you said, it's a nucleus, because they have, each person plays their role. So not only the babysitter is also the cook. So no one has spent money on eating out because somebody bought groceries and they all piled together. She cooked some great food. They know what they're eating. And they eat, they enjoy some family time, and then everybody's back to their, you know, to their work and their separate lives. And to watch that, I was just so amazed at that, and imagine how much money. And so then the great thing is, everybody also is saving up money because they're saving on food, they're saving on, you know, their living expenses, etc., so that then they can branch out and set up their own things. So between the real estate, and then they actually just opened another office down the block. And I don't remember what that business is, but they have something else. I think maybe it's a testing center. So they're just continuing to grow and move along, and everybody's helping the process, and everyone's eating.
Yeah, you know, I like that a lot, because what it sounds like they built is a nice ecosystem and a nice family economy, and that's, you know, and that's something that requires thought and training. And the thing is that for Black folks, we're not particularly trained all that well growing up on how to create our own economy. We're trained to become slaves to another economy, to someone else's economy. We're not trained, or servants to that economy. We're not so much trained to say, okay, what are the things that an economy needs? You know, how can, you know, for example, if you just think about parents that spend like a ton of money on daycare, right? Like you said, you know, if you coordinate with 5 other parents and say, okay, why don't one of us stay home and take care of the kids, you know, when everybody else goes to work, you know, and we all make sure that the last person has a place to live and all that, then you can save tons of money that way. And then what happens is that additional cash reserve allows you to then make investments, which allow you to become an owner of assets, which sends you racing down the highway of wealth. You know, instead, many of us are on a kind of a treadmill, like hamsters, and we're running hard, and ain't really going nowhere. You know. So, by the way, everybody, I wanted to mention to you, I'm speaking to Miss Jessica Smith, CPA. She runs, what your company's called, Jessica Smith Accounting
And Company.
Jessica Smith and Company. Okay, Jessica Smith and Company. She's an accountant out of Chicago, and we're talking about the coming retirement crisis that's coming from the fact that people are not prepared for retirement. Please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. I want to say welcome to everybody on the Financial Juneteenth channel. I'm so glad to have you. Those of you who are on the Facebook page, good to see you. On Dr. Boyce TV, good to see you. Don't forget that we're on iTunes, so you can actually go to iTunes, search for my name, and find the stuff there as well. Also, those of you who'd like to learn more about preparing for retirement and just retiring worry-free, the Black Business School has a great retirement program that you can sign up for. You can actually get a discount if you want to sign up today. It teaches you all the tools and tricks and everything else for preparing for your long-term financial security, not just for retirement, but if your goal is to build long-term family wealth, things like that, positioning yourself to have assets as you get older, and then also even once you pass. Feel free to go to theblackretirementplan.com, because we keep everything black. We support the Black community. We're building for the Black community. That is our mission in life. That is our life. We're dedicating our lives to Black people. That's it. So it's theblackretirementplan.com, theblackretirementplan.com. If you sign up now and you want to get a discount on it, you can actually use the code Black Panther. Use the code word Black Panther, one word, not two, Black Panther, one word, and you get 30% off the program. It's I think it's, what is it, Jessica? Is it a 6-week or 8-week class? Do you remember?
It is
7 weeks.
7. Yeah, I was going to say it's not either. It's 7. Yeah.
All right. So right in the middle. So it's a 7-week masterclass on retirement planning that covers retirement budget basics. How much money do you actually need to retire at a lifestyle to which you become accustomed? A lot of people don't know how much they need to save to maintain a certain lifestyle. Jessica can show you that. Another's called Enough is Enough. That sounds interesting. Deciding on the right time to call it quits. point A to point B, the different investment vehicles and portfolio diversification strategies to prepare for retirement, the debt trap, how to save for retirement even if your debts are too high and your income's too low, keep the river flowing, how to create income through passive and active means after you've retired, shock-proof your healthcare planning, preserve your legacy, caring for and supporting your family members, and much, much more. So feel free to check it out. Type in the URL, somebody please, so everybody can see it. It's theblackRetirementPlan.com, theblackRetirementPlan.com, and the code word to get the 30% discount on the 6-week masterclass, which starts May 1st, is the code word Black Panther. Black Panther, all one word. And actually, I think in the program, you actually get free access to another one of the programs in the Black Business School. You get access to Black Money 101. You get a free lifetime membership, which has a $1,200 value. You also get free access to Financial Juneteenth University, which talks about entrepreneurship and allows you to hear from the stories from different entrepreneurs. And when you get done with Jessica's program, you can get a certificate of completion that you can put on your wall, and you can say, I am a graduate of the Black Business School. We take tremendous pride in who we are and what we represent. If those folks can go build Harvard and Yale and Stanford, then Black folks can build our own university, and that's what the Black Business School is. So we're not seeking accreditation, we give accreditations, because we know that Black people need a unique type of economic training, a unique type of economic system, unique ecosystems that we develop that will help us to solve long-term problems, not to just sort of repeat the same problems over again. So there you go. That's my spiel on the class. Feel free to go check it out. I hope you guys like it. So Jessica, on a final note, I know you got to go. I know you got a lot of things going on. So let's say that I'm 50 years old and I'm trying to get ready for long-term retirement and everything else, and I'm a little nervous because I haven't done everything I'm supposed to do. Should I feel bad about that? And whether I should or not, what should I do? Or what are some steps I can take right now, maybe? Just a couple of basic steps.
You ask the most loaded question. Should you feel bad about that? I mean, it's hard for me to answer that question without making somebody feel bad. I mean, obviously, if you think about it, it depends on when you're trying to retire. Like you said, you have to decide how much it's going to cost for you to live the lifestyle that you want to live. Now, if you're going to be comfortable with, just kind of getting by and doing the best you can, but one of the things you're going to have to do is shore up, your income. We got to figure out where that money's coming from. You got to start saving something. If you assume that you're going to retire at 65, if you're retiring at 55, well, I don't know unless you can't, maybe you should play the lottery, because I don't know what you could do in 5 years to windfall an entire retirement. But I will say you still have time. Don't get discouraged. Don't feel like you don't have time, because there are vehicles and there are things that you can do. And one of the great things you even mentioned was about, coming up with passive income and coming up with creative ways to subsidize your income as you're trying to move forward and prepare yourself for retirement. There's, I don't know, I think you and I discussed that story before about the lady whose retirement plan was to get on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
And she said that she had I mean, to me, if that wasn't an ingenious retirement plan, there was a woman who, instead of paying for a nursing facility or paying to assisted living, she decided to live on a cruise ship. And so she just paid, she said the same amount of money she pays to cruise would be the equivalent to what she paid to live in a nursing home, except on the cruise she gets, more than 3 meals a day. She has great activities. She's got, she's got a doctor on staff. So she decided that was her retirement plan, which is awesome. And she said she met new people every week because somebody's always getting on or getting off. And so I thought that was very creative and ingenious. So, there are still some things that we can do, and we just need to figure out kind of what they are. And we need to take a look at kind of what it is what our goals are and how we plan on living. And like you said, if we can figure out too how to start creating some of these family ecosystems, because a lot of the rich families, the Rockefellers, the Kennedys, they all have done that same thing. The Hiltons, they all have kind of created their own ecosystem, and we have to learn how to do the same.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know how she was able to pull off retirement on the cruise ship, in the sense that as I was reading here, as you were talking, I found that The average cost per day for cruise ship passengers is about $213 a day, which is $77,000 a year. And the average retiree spends about $46,000 a year. So it almost seems like the cruise ship might be a little more expensive, but maybe if you throw in the medical stuff and all the other stuff and the free food, I don't know, maybe that's the issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how she did it, but this I read that story. I mean, because they didn't obviously give all her financials and particulars, and then you also have to depend. It depends on obviously what line she's cruising on and that sort of thing. But and obviously there's not a plethora of people doing that. This is this lady, so we don't really kind of know what her retirement saving. And I imagine probably after this lady continued to buy and showed up, we don't know what kind of buddy passes or what she might even work there by now. You never know. Because I actually have some other clients that one of my clients is a doctor, and she goes and spends time as a ship doctor when she's not being a regular. Like, she's a freelance doctor, and one of the ways she subsidizes her income is also, again, going on cruise ships. So, there's a lot of creative ways for you to earn your money. You don't always have to sit behind a desk,
Wow. Well, you know what?
Which
Well, I think this is great information, and it is worth thinking about. So the homework for everybody is, ask yourself, where are you in terms of retirement? Excuse me, I've got something in my throat. Ask yourself, where are you in terms of retirement? Are you prepared? If you're not prepared, remember, I told you guys, one of the secrets to getting ahead financially in America is don't do what everybody else is doing. That goes a long way. Don't do what everybody else is doing, because most Americans are not in good financial shape. Just pick the ones that are doing well and figure out, what the difference is. And I tell you what, a lot of it links directly to how we spend our money, how we deal with debt. Also, how we earn our money. I think that if you look at just those three areas alone, that goes a long way. And in fact, actually, believe it or not, Jessica, I have been telling parents in the Black Business School that you should try your best if you have a newborn baby. I showed them mathematically how they could set their child up for retirement at the age of 28. And to me, retirement doesn't mean that you're like an old person and you sit around and do nothing. Retirement just means freedom. It means doing whatever you want. Most retirees don't sit around and just watch Jeopardy all day. Most retirees, they start, playing golf. They volunteer. They go write books. They do whatever they want, right? So that's what you're supposed to do. You're not. If you sit around and do nothing, they say you're going to die. So literally, I showed them mathematically, because I showed them what we're doing for my niece. And I said, look, if the last 28 years is just like the next 28 years or similar, then just by investing specific amounts in the stock market and her stock market portfolio in a certain way, and also teaching her basics about financial literacy and investing and ownership and all that, she can retire by 28. She'll be a millionaire, and she'll be free to quit any job. She'll have the capital to invest in anything she wants, because she'll be endowed. She'll be endowed like a university's endowed, or like a corporation's endowed. An endowment means that you have a bunch of assets that allow you to make moves. A lot of us can't make money moves because we ain't got no money. Well, if somebody sets you up with money, then you can make all kinds of moves that other people can't make. One horrible example that you guys probably hate is Donald Trump. The reason Trump is able to run around and do all the crazy stuff he does is because his dad put him in a position where he said, here, son, here's $50 million. Go make money moves. And his whole life, Trump has never had to fill out a job application because he didn't need a job, right? So jobs are for people whose parents did not leave them enough wealth for them to be fully endowed. So, position your children in the right way. You've got time. You can do it. Don't give up on yourself. All right. So thank you very much, Jessica. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. And everybody, the URL for Jessica's retirement class is theblackRetirementPlan.com. That's theblackRetirementPlan.com. The code word to get 30% off of her. So use the code word Black Panther, one word, not two. The code word Black Panther at theblackRetirementPlan.com. You get 30% off the masterclass. Also, please hit the thumbs up button before you go and all that good stuff. So thank you guys for hanging out. It was great. Thank you, Jessica.
You
Have a
so
good day.
much.
All right. See you guys soon.
I'll see some of you guys tomorrow night.
Yes. It starts May 1st. All right.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm excited.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm